Good afternoon, everyone. It is August 17th, 2023. Globex has just opened up, and my oh my, was I wrong. Uh, what I was looking for yesterday, and what I mentioned in the video, was that I wanted to see a slight dip during Globex that was bought up, another slight dip at the open that would be bid up off of kind of that 18 to 24 area. We got a monthly low there, a monthly point of control, a daily low, all sorts of stuff was over there, and I thought we'd in general be able to hold it and just kind of rotate our way back upwards. Now, this was not the case, and we had an early tell with Apple falling. Both tickers, however, were unable to trade above their overnight highs. They traded right beside it, lost the open, and the Nasdaq started to look much heavier. I saw Apple was crapping out, and ES attempted to hold that area, that previous day's low, the Wednesday low, to that monthly low at 24 or whatever that is, a weekly low, whatever. We kept trying to hold it there, and it even tried to keep holding an old -2 weekly standard deviation at 11s. We kept on trying to hold that, but eventually the thing just crapped out, and it crapped out hard. Uh, I was not looking for a sell of that size. In general, you can see in purple up here. I was looking for August to be a pretty quiet month. I was thinking, maybe we get up to here, maybe we rotate down to here. But in general, I wasn't looking for this sort of thing. I was looking for this in September. So let's go ahead and delete these. We can now get into what I'm thinking on this big time frame here. We've got the big chart out on this big time frame. I want to note something, and that is that not only did we lose the second standard deviation, we have now, look, it's only been one close below, but it looks like we're losing this first standard deviation over here. It looks like we're going to lose this, and I think we're going to fill in this contract gap going down to around 4,300, where that second half of the year's high was in 2022. It was such a critical level that we broke out of, and if this thing doesn't go bid off 4,300, we're more so looking at yearly VWAP at 4189.5 and the top of this consolidation. And if you start to lose that, then wow, uh, you're looking at a large liquidation. I've had that written there for months. You're looking at a large liquidation. Same thing on the Nasdaq. We have lost this first standard deviation of yearly VWAP, which was support pretty much all year long, other than this dip in March. But it was repeatedly support, and we have lost that quite firmly on the Nasdaq. So overall, what I'm looking for now on these slightly higher time frames is one, I think we'll close these contract gaps, 4,300 and around 530 on the Nasdaq, and perhaps we'll even get into the yearly VWAPs. Nasdaq, I'm interested in this level over here, this 566. You can see it was completely a major level. That's where we bet off of as well. On the ES, I'm looking at 4,300-ish, and below there, I'm looking at this consolidation that we broke out of. Major liquidation if we break that. Major liquidation if we break that kind of 13K-ish spot. So that's how I'm looking at this for now in these higher time frames. Let's go into the weekly time frame as well. Let's drop this thing down a bit. This was completely wrong. uh, yes, this was right, that 4,300 before 4,700. It looks like we're about 76 points off, so that'll be complete. But the low of month that I was looking for was completely off. We're traded 25 points below 4,400 now. Nasdaq has lost that first standard deviation of VWAP, and now it's a matter of figuring out where the hell is this waterfall going to end. This waterfall that I'm talking about. You had your accumulation down. Let's zoom out for a second. Let's go to the ES. You had your accumulation of crap. You had the markup, the distribution, and now how far are we going to sell off? I wouldn't be too surprised if we come back down here. Maybe get the bears a little bit excited and then squeeze them up for the end of the year. I'm not too sure, but 4,300 is where I'm looking at in the near term. Maybe even for tomorrow. I'm not sure. Today was nothing. Today was a negative, I don't know, 1% day or something. It was not some huge sell-off. It was simply because we've sold off a few days in a row here. Anyway, we're already 5 minutes in. Let's get into the actual trades I'm looking at. In case it's of any surprise, I'm short biased. um, I want to be short up until we get above 44.27ish. That's where we kept on being offered today. Let's pull up a 30-minute. That's where we kept maybe a 5-minute. That's where we kept on selling off of this 27-ish level, was roughly the IB half as well. So I think that's going to be the critical area that I'll be watching for acceptance. Below there, 44.24 is that weekly low. Below there, you have settlement lows at 18s. A monthly low is somewhere squished in there as well. So this is the highest spot I'd want to be short. Ideally, sellers hold this between 09.5 and forgot to put this in here, 09.5 and 11s. 11 and a half. This is ideally where we hold. This is where we broke down out of. That's where the VWAP closes. That's where I really want to see them hold. That's also where we had that overnight low. Right around here, this is the kind of zone I'm talking about, maybe 9 to 13, something like that. That's where I want to see sellers step in on this. If we start trading out 18, 24, 27, yeah, you're fighting momentum at that point. You really are. You're also looking at a 50-point rally in the opposite direction that we had today. Anyway, that's the ideal spot. Down below there, O2 is a really awesome level for weeks back in, what was it, June? Below there, 97 is also a nice level. I would consider one long, believe it or not, at 91s. That is the -3 standard deviation of weekly VWAP from an old weekly time frame. Below there, not interested in trying to play a salvage of today's low of the day or the close. 83.75, the 95% daily value area low, as well as the 4 p.m. close. 78s is the daily low. I'm not interested in trying to play a salvage game here. What instead I could see us doing is something like this, where we try and salvage it, and then we end up breaking, the overnight lows and whatever, and go downwards. The main area I'm interested in getting long is this over here, 68s to 55s. The reason being is that you have the -3 standard deviation of July's VWAP. I believe that's July's at 63.25. You have the June VWAP close at 61.5. You have another weekly low at 68.5, and you have another weekly low at 51s. There's a lot of stuff between kind of 51 to 68 that I'd be interested in. Below there, and I think I'm going to be hands off for the day. Below 38, you're getting into that weird contract gap thing we had. ES has never managed to maintain that. I'm not interested in it. Here, maybe there you go. This is for the external trading hours. The other one was for the RTH. I'm not interested in playing this thing. 27s is that swing high from August 2022. That's what we're looking at right there. And of course, that happens to be exactly where the low is of this external trading hours contract gap. ES has never managed to maintain one of these contract gaps, and I'm not interested in trying to fade that sort of probability. So that's where I'll stop looking to try and find longs. And in general, I'm really going to be trying to find shorts. Tomorrow, to me, is not a long day unless the MGI really shifts from where it is currently. So that's how I'm looking at the ES. Mostly short bias, and I really want to see them keep it pinned under 13 to 09s. Above there, and you're starting to fight some Momo. On the Nasdaq, similar idea. You have a contract gap going from 640, 635 to 521, maybe a little bit higher. Let's see. Yeah, around here, 526. Not interested in trying to salvage that. Just like on the ES, I'm uninterested in it. I'm not playing that game. Let's pull up the trades that I'm actually looking at. Much like how I want ES to ideally hold that 09 to 13 area, I don't really want to see us get up into this sort of 938 number. Let me just pull this up on another chart, my structure chart. I don't really want to see us getting up into 938 and all these upper levels. That is settlement lows, so I would be surprised if we were able to reclaim that after such a heavy day. What I really want to see us do is keep this spot offered, 891s. That is the point of control from today's session. Below there, the VWAP closed at 878. This is kind of similar to the '09 to 13 area. This is primarily where I want to see us be able to stay offered. Below there, I am interested in shorting 853s, that being the weekly low from a number of weeks back. I do not ask me when it was. Below there, 839.75. That is the July -3 standard deviation of VWAP. Below there, 805s would also be interested in getting short over there, that being a 95% weekly value area low. And you can see that's where we tried to stay bid and then offered and offered once again. Below there, just like on the ES, I've got this as a neutral number, the 764. It's an old weekly low, and it happens to be right above where we set a low of the day at 754s. I think you can maybe try and play some sort of look below and fail and get a move upwards. But in general, look, I'm looking for this to trade. 526. Do we do it tomorrow? I don't know. Today's low of the day down to there, 230 points. That's not unreasonable to say we did 250 points and we didn't have a magnet like that contract gap. So, I've got this as a pivot, but I'm more so looking to play it from the short side. Now, if I was to take longs, where am I looking at? Well, 718s, and man, that's right in the gap. That's about it, I think. 718s being a -3 standard deviation of some old VWAP. Below there, you've got a 95% weekly value area high at 691s, a weekly high at 694s, a daily high at 687s. But I'm not sure how enthusiastic I am to be trying to go long here. I don't have a lot of faith in this thing, to be quite honest. I think we're going to just simply close that contract gap. So I'll put that in there, 691s, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not too eager. I think tomorrow is going to be, if you find a short, that's great. Play it. Try and get into this gap. Try and get into that 4,300 gap on ES 03-ish. But really, the move is to play it short. Anyway, 13-minute video. Sorry about that. Hope this makes sense. Hope this helps. I'm sure we'll get some movement overnight, and this will need an adjustment in the morning. Have a great night. Trade safe.